Well, hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us again. I'm sitting down with the principal of Abraxas High School, Alain Henry. Alain, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, tell us, being here. Yeah, give us a little background on Abraxas, the student population that's there.
So Abraxas is a high school in Poway Unified that has two separate programs. The transition program, which is a program for 18 to 22-year-old young adults with significant disabilities. And then the diploma program, which is a program for 16 to 19-year-old students who have struggled in the other 5 high schools and come to us to finish their high school education.
Cool. And then tell us, how long have you been a principal there at Abraxas?
So I've been at Abraxas for 3 years now, moved here from Colorado 3 years ago to get away from winter.
I like it. Tell us a little bit about some of the challenges your students are facing right now with the COVID and the pandemic that we're in right now.
Well, currently we're all facing the same challenges, sort of prisoners of our homes, so to speak. And so for our students, we have a lot of students that have significant needs in a variety of areas, and it's all exacerbated by the fact that they can't interact, can't get the support they need. And then families struggling, obviously a lot of families no longer working, so then money becomes tighter, things become more difficult for families in general. And so we've seen an uptick in sort of requests for even basic things as food, things like that. And so that's been a big push on our give side. And then we've had a lot of students that have requested support with technology and things like that, and the district has been phenomenal in getting technology out to students who need it all throughout the district, our school included.
That's awesome. If you can speak to it, what are some of the things that the church here has been able to do for
So, like you said, we've had a relationship for longer than I've been there, but what you guys have done for us is absolutely phenomenal. The generosity of your congregation is unbelievable. You guys have, each year for both of our graduations, you give us 10 Chromebooks to give to kids who are moving on to community college to support their education. Every quarter for the past 8 years, you guys have bought, we do a credit lunch that celebrates kids who are earning a significant number of credit to try to catch up and get back on track. And those students get gift cards that for things just like even just a Starbucks gift card, things like that. And then you've hosted and provided food for the credit lunch itself, and then provided other food and donations for families in need throughout the years. It's really just a phenomenal give from your congregation.
What are some of the things going forward? You mentioned some of the needs. What are some things we can do as a church to continue to support you guys?
You know, around this particular crisis, I think what's going to happen on the back end, you know, obviously eviction notices aren't happening right now, but with a lot of our families that were operating in 2 jobs, you know, just to make it by, probably neither of those jobs is happening right now, so there's no income coming in or very limited income coming in, and so bills are going to come due on the back end of this, and you know, things as simple as unable to pay any kind of utilities bills and things like that during this, internet down, that kind of thing, and you know, there's some support around that for families right now, but coming out of some of the internet providers, especially for families with kids, so that kids can stay connected to their learning. But I think it's all going to sort of catch up on the back end for a lot of families. I think we're going to see a lot of families, not just our families, but families throughout the community that are suddenly going to be in major need because everything's going to be coming due. And so I anticipate really a lot of financial need, actually really throughout this community, but certainly for a lot of our families.
If you can think of a specific story or an example of a student that you've heard, you know, you don't have to obviously name, but is there a student or a family that comes to mind that you could share, kind of like this is a specific struggle that they're having right now? Well,
so one of our families recently, so they were doing okay on their own, but extended family were unable to pay bills, and so they're now doubled up. And so you've got about 12, 14 people trying to essentially eat off of one income. And so they're in significant food crisis. We've donated quite a bit of food to that particular family because they've been sharing food amongst 14 people in one household. And things like that, I think, are happening. And because we're all in our homes, we're not hearing about it. I think we're going to hear about it on the back end. And so I think there's a lot of that kind of going around. And so it's that kind of story that is going to, I think, emerge out of this, of people just really, really struggling right now.
Can you give us an example of like a student and their challenges? Like, this is what a student at Abraxas looks like, unlike a lot of other students.
So got a student a couple years ago. She came in to us. We were, I think, her fourth high school. Had struggled at her other high schools. Bright kid, just significant problems in the family. A lot of problems in the family, extended family with addiction. I don't think she'd seen her mom since she was maybe 6, because mom was having significant issues with substance. So there was some meltdown at the home during her time with us, and we ended up getting her hooked up with another family to live with, and she came in and was talking with her teacher and myself about her new situation, saying thanks so much for getting me this place, because she had been couch surfing for a while, and mentioned that this was the first time, she's 18, that she had her own bed. So she had been either sleeping on the floor, on couches throughout her whole life, and had never actually had a room with a bed in it that was her own. And so to be in 2020, 18, and never actually having slept in your own bed it brings it home sometimes when you hear stories like that and realize, oh, we're not talking about Bangladesh. This isn't third world somewhere else. This is third world San Diego, Poway, and that's real for some people. And sometimes in our own lives, we don't see it because we don't feel it. We just kind of go through our lives unaware of, because, especially for high school kids, there's this kind of cool factor, right? So you can't tell anybody that you don't have food, that you don't have a bed, that you know everybody else does. You know everybody because you can see how they dress, you can see what they're wearing and things like that. And so it's an underground sort of secret thing that especially kids, they're not going to share it. And then we have in our culture, there's a shame that goes with it, that you can't ask for help because you failed somehow, and so that makes it difficult to reach out for help. And so and that's all part of sort of giving things like your church and your congregation to just give, and then for people like us who know the kids, then we can filter it to them directly, and that's where we've really utilized some of the generosity of your church, because it's real, it's out there, and in a lot of our lives we just don't come across it,
Yeah, it's so true. So true.
And often our picture, I guess, if I expand just a second, our picture of the homeless is usually that kind of crazy person pushing the cart with all kinds of crap stacked up on it, and so you think, oh, that's homeless, but it's much broader than that. So
yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Tell me real quick, why do you do what you do? Why do you love your job?
Well, that's a great question. So for me, I guess long ago I realized I had the right sort of patience, the right ability to just sort of accept people where they were at in terms of working with students that had really significant difficulties in their life, and we're just trying to overcome it. And it's just really about being non-judgmental and just accepting a kid as a kid. They've just got a crazy circumstance in their life. So how can I help that person move forward? Because what I see and have always seen in all kids is this phenomenal potential. And I think all people have phenomenal potential, and it's helping people realize that potential, and sort of getting past the today, because a lot of times you can't see it when you're in it, but it is just today. And if we can help kids and families get through today, then maybe tomorrow's a better day and tomorrow's a better life, and that's really what I'm about as an educator, always have been, and it's why I got into what I do, working with alternative students.
Awesome. Well, thank you for what you do, Alan. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
appreciate it.
As a church, we're so grateful to be able to partner with you guys, walk with you, and support you guys in what you're doing. So.
Well, and again, I mean, the generosity it's blown me away when I got here. Just what you guys do every quarter for our kids, and I'm just like, holy mackerel. Yeah, it's just amazing to me. So I'm super thankful.